Hello and welcome to the Business of Meeting podcast. I'm your host, Eric Rozenberg. Over the years, I've had the privilege of helping businesses in the meetings and event industry grow and succeed. And I'm excited to share that experience with you. If you feel alone and overwhelmed, and if you're looking to take your business to the next level, improve your strategy and sales, and connect with like-minded professionals, you are in the right place. I invite you to visit eventbusinessformula.com and join our community of event business owners dedicated to exponential growth. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Business of Meetings podcast. Today, I want to talk about customers' delight. We always say that our business is based on relationship, which is true. And the question comes back regularly: how do we delight our customers? What can we do so that they're not only happy to work with us, but they really appreciate the value we're bringing and also the support that we are giving them? So let me first start by one of my favorite stories. Years ago, I was traveling. I was still living in Brussels, was traveling to Chicago for a board meeting. And I used to take the American Airlines 88, 89, doesn't exist anymore, between Brussels and Chicago. And I liked very much the flight. You know why? Because one day I was in a flight and suddenly I start looking around me. People were laughing almost at the same time. And I had no idea why they were laughing like that and what they were watching. And this is how I discovered Everybody Loves Raymond. Yes, I know you might have your opinion on that. Personally, I love it. I love the humor. And I was watching that. I enjoyed taking the flight because I knew I was going to watch some new episodes. Obviously, we didn't have that in Belgium at that time. And I arrived in Chicago. Unfortunately, that flight, they stopped playing it. And it's been going on for months and for years. And now it was the first flight I was taking, Brussels, Chicago, without being able to watch Everybody Loves Raymond. And so I arrived at the hotel, and I remember it was the Peninsula, Chicago, and I arrived at the reception, and the person who was checking me in asked me, how was your flight? I said, yeah, it was great, but I'm sad because they don't play Everybody Loves Raymond anymore. Like, why would that person care anyway? But that's just what I said. And she looked at me and said, oh, I'm sorry, sir. I hope you enjoy your stay, blah, blah, blah. Next morning, I'm having breakfast. And when the time comes to sign the check to my room, I sign it and it come back when they saw my room number. It came back with a little message that says, good morning, Mr. Rozenberg. Everybody Loves Raymond plays on channel number 36 every day at 5 p.m. And I thought like, wow, this is phenomenal. It's a very simple process if you think about it. At the reception, the person was checking me in, put a word in the system, and then generate a little message. Somebody was there to support that. So that was absolutely not complicated, if you want, but it's something that I still remember years later. And so those are those little moments that we can create for our customers. So the first thing I would recommend you to do is to list all the touch points that you have with your customer. From the moment you are prospecting them, from the moment you're making an offer, the moment you're going to review the program, on-site, inspection, after the program, list all those touch points. And for each of those touch points, ask yourself, what could I have done differently at that very moment? And that is going to give you new ideas on how you can delight your customer, how you can do things differently, and making sure that they appreciate what you're doing. The thing is also to surprise them. For instance, if you're sending a Christmas card, okay, who's not? So you're not really differentiating yourself. But if you're sending something at a moment that they're not expecting it, whether it is the anniversary of you starting to work with them, or something that happened in their company, or whatever it is that resonates with them, but it's not the classic one. It's not that everybody's doing it at the same moment. So you're doing something different. You're doing something which is not expected. Because when you are doing things that are expected, it really diminishes the value. The best example I can give you is that I used to buy a little gift to my daughters when I was traveling, until one day I came home, and even before saying, hi, Dad, the question was, what did you bring us? And we're like, okay, I should probably revise that touch point as well. So the way you're looking at helping your customer is also how you are going to use your knowledge, how you're going to use your expertise, your network, but also how you're going to use the fact that you really want to support them in different circumstances and linking the programs you are running for them with their strategy, with the objectives of the meeting. And that's how you're going also to be recognized as a strategic partner and how you're going to grow your business. So let me give you two concrete examples. The first one was an incentive that we were organizing, incentive trip we were organizing for a company in the Benelux, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg. We were organizing it in Zimbabwe at Victoria Falls. And when we were preparing the program, we're going to go there in February. And the summer before, I was looking at the dates. And just like this year, I realized that the dates in February and March were exactly the same. And so instead of doing the rafting on the 14th of February, I asked the client to move it to the 13th. And so when you do the rafting at Victoria Falls, the most difficult thing is not to do the rafting, is not to have this barbecue along the river in a sandy beach and playing volleyball for lunch. The most difficult thing is actually to climb out of the Zambezi River, out of the gorge of the Zambezi. And so it was a 30 minutes walk going up. It was quite tiring. And on the February 13, which was a Friday, we took a picture of the whole group after they had climbed out of the Zambezi. And on Friday, the 13th of March, just a month later, they received the group picture with a little words for the commercial director saying, don't worry, every Friday the 13th, you won't have to climb out of the Zambezi River gorging. And that is something that till today, when Friday the 13th is happening, they're thinking about it. And those are little things, didn't cost much, obviously, but just trying to be creative, trying to look at different touch points, trying to look at why they're bringing people together. The second example that I want to give you is also your role when it's your company, you're helping your customer. You should not hesitate to be a little bit more assertive. What do I mean by that? At the beginning, when somebody would say, a client would say, oh, we want to, these are the key message we have, like 3, 4, 5 key message we want to convey during the 2 days sales meeting. And instead of saying, listen, 4 or 5 messages in 2 days, nobody's going to remember anything. I think you should focus on 1 or 2 messages. Right? I didn't say anything. And I learned afterwards that, it could have been better, it could have been more impactful. So I decided that whenever I had a thought, whenever I was thinking about something, I would share with my client, which I'm still doing today. That's what I call tough love with the people I'm coaching, but I genuinely want to help them. So we were in Sardinia. We had a sales meeting for a major pharmaceutical company. Well, not this pharmaceutical company. In that case, was a medical device company. And they were every country they were rehearsing. And the new product they were coming up with was going to solve an issue on the German market. And it's important for the story. That's why I'm precising that. And at the moment of the rehearsal, the country manager of Germany wasn't there yet, hadn't landed yet. And the number 2 of the company worldwide was speaking. And then he said, do I hear a jawohl from my German friends? And I went like, oh my God. And then I turned to the head of the meetings for European head of meetings for the company. And I told him, listen, did you hear what I heard? And he said, yeah, what? He's going to offend the Germans by saying that. Do you think so? I don't think so. I know. And then I looked around. Nobody wanted to talk to the worldwide number 2. So I said, do you want me to go and talk to them? He said, yes. So I went to talk to the number 2. I introduced myself and I said, listen, I heard what you said. I understand why you're saying it. Can you please double check with your country manager from Germany? Because I believe the way you said it might be offending your colleague. And I know that's not what you want to be doing. It's what he did. He didn't mention that sentence when he presented afterwards. And just before leaving, he called me and thanked me for speaking up. So again, it's a little example, but the impact was obviously very important for that meeting. My point is, when you are trying to help your customer, not saying what you think is not helpful. That's the reason why they work with you. Because of your experience, it's because of your expertise, and because they know that you have their back. So why not demonstrating the fact that you have their back. So in all of those points, what I think is very important is making sure that you're always looking. Put yourself in the shoes of your customer. It's not about you. It's not about your company. It's about them. It's about what they're doing. It's about why they are investing in a face-to-face meeting and why they're trying to achieve those goals, and you're there to support them. And that's also what I'm doing today, by the way. In everything I do with the people I'm coaching, again, it's what I call tough love. I'll make sure that I will tell you exactly what I think because I've been there and because I want to help you. And of course, at the end of the day, you'll make your own decision. So in conclusion, I would say, think about a moment where you were delighted, where you were surprised, positively surprised, when you had an experience that you remember. Think about it. Think about what it was. Try to see how you can maybe reproduce that with any of your customer. And more importantly, think about the different touch point that you have with your customer and what you can do to help them, to surprise them, to go beyond and above their expectations, and making sure that you are delighting your customer. It's going to be good for them. And if it's good for them, it's going to be good for you and it's going to be good for your business. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you at an industry event. Thank you for tuning in to the Business of Meeting podcast. I hope you found today's episode valuable. If you enjoyed the show, the most important thing you can do is leave a review and share it with your colleagues. It really helps spread the word. I truly appreciate your support. And if you're ready to take your business to the next level, don't forget to visit eventbusinessformula.com to learn more about how we are helping even business owners like you. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.